Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to Gutha Mandala for achieving SAT score 1570, Farah Khalil 1540, Kunal Varma 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premier SAT and ACT program. Pay now, start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ వారి గోల్డ్ ప్రామిస్ తో కురుస్తోంది బంగారు నాణాల వర్షం. గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్ ఆభరణాలు కొనుగోలు చేసి బంగారు నాణాలని ఉచితంగా తప్పకుండా పొందండి. త్వరపడండి, మీ దగ్గరలోని స్టోర్ కి వెళ్లి ప్రత్యేకమైన జ్యువెలరీ కలెక్షన్ ని ప్రత్యేకమైన ధరల్లో పొందండి. కేవలం మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ తో మాత్రమే.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్.
Hire international teachers who are well trained in U.S. curriculum for just $20 an hour. Or for 2 students group, $15 an hour. We teach math, science, and English for elementary, middle, and high school. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
PSAT. Do you have a middle school child? Are you aiming for top Ivy League colleges? Do you know how strong they are in academics? We have an innovative PSAT program for grades 6 through 9. We will help your child thrive in academics and get them to the top 1% of the nation. It's never too early to start. Join our prestigious PSAT program. For more information, contact us, info@testpreppundits.com or 844-383-7844.
Summer is the best time to boost your scores. Test Prep Pundits present Self-Prep SAT ACT course for just $199. Stellar digital curriculum expert videos for every question. 15 full-length tests. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
ఆకర్షణీయమైన చీరలు, అప్పురపరిచే ధరలు. అందరికీ నచ్చిన, అందరూ మెచ్చిన షో మన లక్కీ మహిళ. బోలెడంత ఎక్సైట్మెంట్, వండర్ఫుల్ విన్నింగ్ మూమెంట్స్.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్ చెప్పారు, మీరే గెలుచుకున్నారండి. కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్, $220.
సెలబ్రిటీ హోస్టులు, అదిరిపోయే పంచులు, సరదా సరదా కబుర్లు.
ఆశ దోశ అప్పడం బడ హెల్ప్ మీరు ఆడుతున్నారు.
ఇలా మరెన్నో మెమరబుల్ మూమెంట్స్ తోటి ఫస్ట్ యానివర్సరీ జరుపుకుంటోంది మన లక్కీ మహిళ. Watch it live only on TV Asia Telugu.
Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to Gutha Mandala for achieving SAT score 1570, Farah Khalil 1540, Kunal Varma 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premier SAT and ACT program. Pay now, start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
TVAsia Telugu ప్రేక్షకులందరికీ hello and welcome back to yet another fabulous episode of our talk show with experts. మనతో ఉన్నారు మన expert Emily Newman గారు. Emily, so thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
This program has been brought to you by the Test Prep Pundits, a home to the top 1% scores. They're conducting a free SAT and ACT bootcamp on July 6th. Please check the website www.testpreppundits.com for further details. The program has been supported by Malabar Jewelers and Movers.com. Watch us on Yup TV, Facebook, YouTube, Sling TV, World BBTV, and Dish Network. All right, Emily, on to our topic for today. I know we have multiple things that we want to discuss, but let's start with our topic for the day, which is got my green card. Yay! So what's next? So if we can, sort of just give us a few things that we need to do right up, then that'd be great.
Gotcha. Yeah, the number one thing after you've waited so long and finally received your green card is making sure we don't abandon it after we worked so hard for it. And so what causes someone to abandon their green card is if they stay outside the U.S. for too long. Typically, you want to keep your trips outside the U.S. less than 6 months. Now, that does not mean you can go for 6 months, come back for a week, then go for another 6 months and come back for a week. Then it starts looking like you're actually living outside the U.S. and coming to the U.S. to visit. So you need to keep your main residence in the U.S. If for some reason you expect your trip to go beyond 6 months, or there's a possibility that that might happen, it's really important to file a re-entry permit before you leave. Because once you're outside the U.S., if your trip gets extended unexpectedly, it's not possible to file that application while you're outside the U.S. You'd have to make a special trip back in, file it, wait for the biometrics, and then you could leave again. You don't have to wait for the approval of that reentry permit to leave, but you do have to be physically in the U.S. when you file it. So that's a very important point. Beyond that, if you receive your green card through employment-based immigration, you're eligible for naturalization 5 years after that. One of the big questions we get is, after I got my green card, when can I change my job? Obviously this whole process was based on you being sponsored by a company, and there are a lot of attorneys out there, and there's lots of rumors out there about you have to stay with the company for 6 months after you get your green card, or if you leave the company right after you got your green card, USCIS might question it during the naturalization process. And I think that's being a little overly cautious. There are, attorneys, our job is to find the risk and make you aware of the risk so that you can take the best choice based on knowing all of the information. But sometimes we might get a little too aggressive in that, it's how many people are going to avoid flying because the plane might crash. You don't want to hear about every time you get on a plane, you don't want some lawyer telling you, hey, this plane might crash. But there is actually no rule that says you have to stay with the company for 6 months. This whole process is based on an offer of employment and your intention to join that company. If you've been with that company and now want to change, you can absolutely change jobs, change, work locations. You can change industries. You can open a business. You're a free agent at this point. So enjoy it and, make it a great career.
Awesome. Anything else that you'd like to add at this point, Emily?
I think we can go into our, update from the different agencies from the American Immigration Lawyers Association conference.
So just to give our viewers a heads up, Emily was at the American Immigration Lawyers Annual Conference last week, and she has a ton of updates because a lot of the immigration agencies were present, and it was a big forum where they discussed a lot of things. So we're waiting to hear some exciting updates from you, Emily. Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great conference, first one that we were able to have in person after 2 years. And it was actually the first one in several years where all of the agencies came to it. During the Trump administration, they weren't as open to coming to the conference. So now it was good to have everybody back. But it was not as much back and forth information sharing as what we've seen in the past. We were not able to ask live questions during the conference. So it was questions that AILA board of directors and liaison committee people had come up with beforehand, made sure the government was comfortable answering those live. So that was kind of disappointing, but we did get information from the Department of State. From their side, the biggest takeaway is that they are still not operating back to pre-COVID levels. It may be several years before they get back to that level. They are considering what we call or referred to as stateside visa renewals, which we had that many, many years ago. It was very convenient for people who were renewing their visa stamp. Instead of having to go to your home country, visit the consulate and get that stamp, if you were already in the U.S., you could stay here, mail your passport into Washington, D.C. They would give you the new stamp and mail it back to you, and then you were free to travel. That's something that they are now actively exploring, which is kind of the most helpful information they've given to us so far. Does that mean it's going to happen? When is it going to happen? No idea, but that is a step in the right direction that would really help ease a lot of these delays we're seeing at the consulate, because there was another panel that it was not a consular official in any official capacity, but a former consular officer told us that they lost so many officers due to COVID and during the COVID situation that is really creating a lot of problems for them to be able to take on the number of visa appointments that they did prior to COVID. And it might actually take 10 years for them to kind of rebuild back to where they were at pre-COVID levels in terms of number of officers that can adjudicate these applications. So that's not a great sign, but if we do have that visa revalidation in the U.S., that could certainly help ease some of that. We also
but it's kind of, sorry to interrupt, Emily, but isn't it kind of a little bit shocking to see that, you know, they've created so many single points of failure without building a contingency into the system where, I mean, and such an important sort of department, given this whole country is based on immigrants, that, you know, they would allow that, you know, not many new people are trained, or, you know, they're not actively hiring and stuff like that. What do you think has happened to cause this, you know, sort of
I think
so many levels, you know?
Absolutely. I think you've got kind of government bureaucracy at its best, which is really at its worst. You have people that have no clue about the real world, no clue about how businesses operate, and so they're just operating their little government bubble, and that's just how they do things. That's how they've always done things. There's no, you know, motivation to try to innovate and cross-train and be ready for, you know, anything that might happen in the future. They just, it's the same old, and if we have to stop working, we just stop working. We don't have any contingency plans. And that's just, I think, the government mindset, unfortunately.
That's sad. I'm sorry, I did interrupt what you were saying, so please continue.
So we also got updates from USCIS. The difficulty there, you know, I know a lot of people on this call are really waiting for their 485s to be approved, and, you know, we're getting some hope from seeing more approvals coming in, but at the same time, USCIS is telling us they now have a 20% vacancy rate in jobs at USCIS. They need to fill 4,000 positions.
All right. Maybe I should start applying to USCIS then.
I know. I was going to say that. After people get their green cards, please go work for USCIS. Tell them what the real world is like and how business should operate. Knock some sense into them, please. But yeah, so they are actively hiring. So definitely look out for those jobs. They are claiming that by December of this year, they hope to have 95% of those jobs filled, which means lots of new officers, which means lots of not much trained officers. So we start seeing kind of weird RFEs in that situation and random odd case updates and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Maybe we'll start seeing application times get better and processing pick up, but at the same time, it's going to be officers who literally had 6 weeks of training.
Oh boy. Okay. Fine. And any update about the Ombudsman's office?
Yeah. So, with all these 485s, and they've had a lot of stakeholder engagements, they've had a couple of webinars talking specifically about employment-based 485s and this transferring from EB3 to EB2. And so all along, we've been telling people, if you're facing an issue with your case and customer service is not working, the congressman's office isn't able to help, one thing you can do is contact the ombudsman's office. And they have generally been able to help when cases are just kind of strange things are happening, or something gets denied incorrectly, or things are outside normal processing times and we're not able to get a response from regular customer service. Well, they came out with this, they just emailed a stakeholder update out last week, basically saying, don't contact us because we can't help you. If you want to find out real-time updates about your case, this is specifically for employment-based 485s, we can't help you if you want to find out if your case was actually transferred from EB3 to EB2. We can't help you if you haven't gotten your 485J receipt notice yet. So what can they help us with? I was really shocked to see that, because they were also at the AILA conference, and they talked about how they really want this engagement. They want the feedback. They want us to tell them when things aren't going properly. But then a week later, they email everyone saying, oh, wait, don't contact us about that. We can't help you with that. Don't. So it was very frustrating to see that, when up until this point, they were kind of our last line of hope besides litigation.
Hey, but to be fair, I don't think they told you that they would actually respond and, work on all the feedback that you guys gave them. So,
Very true. Very true. They like feedback and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah. They're like, okay, you give us your feedback and that's it, There's nothing else going on. All right. On that very happy note, let's take anything else that you'd like to add at this point, Emily, before we start taking our callers for the day?
The only other real update from USCIS was just about kind of they recognize that customer service is practically non-existent right now, that it's really impossible to talk to a live person. The way it goes now, you call and sit on hold for a while, and then you finally talk to someone that can't help you. So they tell you they'll schedule a call back, but they don't tell you when that call back will happen. And many, many times it will be at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning when you're in the shower. So you miss the call, and they just tell you, well, we'll try one more time, and if we don't get you, guess what? You have to start over after you've waited 3 weeks for this phone call. So their new plan is to send you a text message before they call, letting you know this is when you can expect a call. Okay. I don't know when that's supposed to be implemented, but hopefully that will help us not miss those important calls.
Okay. Interesting update. So thank you for that, Emily. And let's take our first caller. All right. Caller with phone number ending in 2221. We're ready for you now. 2221. Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
My name. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, ma'am. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hi. My name is Madhu. I'm actually calling regarding a question that I have my H1 approved till stamped till March 2024, and I also have a EAD AP advance parole from my husband's I-485. If I go out of country while my I-485 is pending, and if it gets approved when I'm out of the country, can I re-enter using my H1 or EAD advance parole, or would there be any problem?
So there's kind of two issues. Number one is getting on the airplane. And then number two is, can you actually get into the country? So once your 485 is approved, you are a permanent resident. You're no longer an H-1B holder. You're no longer eligible for the EAD and AP since you don't need it anymore. But you can use that advanced parole or your H-1B visa stamp to actually get on the plane, because the airlines do have to check before they let you board that you have some kind of valid immigration document. So on its face, that is a valid immigration document to let you board. And then when you land in the U.S., you'll probably be pulled into deferred inspection where they will actually look up the current status and see that you are a permanent resident and then grant you entry. So you won't actually be using your AP or your H-1B to enter the U.S. They will let you enter as a permanent resident because they'll be able to see that in their system.
So even if I do not have card in my hand, right, Emily?
Correct. That's right.
Okay. One more question. Sorry about that. My husband is the primary applicant and I am the derivative applicant. So his and my son's, both one primary and one derivative applications have been approved, and we received the green cards last Friday, this Friday, just 2 days back. And mine is still in pending status. Is there anything, when I tried reaching out to Emma and asking this question, they gave a list of, a URL to go over, and that does not have the national benefits. Ours is in the National Benefit Center, transferred to National Benefit Center, and I don't see that in the drop-down list. Any idea on that?
Yeah, this is happening quite a bit, so you're not alone in that. And probably the best thing you can do is reach out to your congressman's office because it is unusual. They are supposed to approve everybody together unless they're missing something in your case. So assuming that there's no issues in your case, they somehow got separated. And so probably your congressman's office or senator's office is going to be best able to help with that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. Let's take our next caller. Thank you. Bye. All right, let's take our next caller. Caller with phone number ending in 1194. We're ready for you now. Hello? Caller with number ending in 1194. Please press *6 to unmute your line. *6 to unmute your line. Hello?
Hello, Nitya Garu.
Hello, sir.
Nitya Garu.
Yes, Japan, sir. Please. We're here. We can hear you.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is. I have filed my EB3 to EB2 downgrade, and then after that, that case has been pending with Texas Center. Then recently, 2 months back, it is transferred to the National Benefit Center. And then I have filed my EB2 I-140 in premium processing along with the interfiling request letter to Texas Center. So I have sent my interfiling request along with the premium processing a couple of weeks back, and it got approved. Now, I'd like to know how Texas Service Center will handle my interfiling request. So that's my first question. Second one is there any way I can track this interfiling request? Because my case is pending with the National Benefit Center right now. So, but my interfiling request, I send it to Texas Service Center because that was the procedure given by USCIS.
Yeah, I've got similar cases where we later filed an EB2 I-140 and made the request to transfer the underlying basis as part of the I-140 filing based on the USCIS instructions. And I've seen zero movement on the 485. Which is generally pending at a different service center. So at that point, I am expecting that maybe they're not equipped because this is the Texas Service Center where you sent the request. They're not really handling these at the same speed that the National Benefit Center is. So in my cases, I'm recommending doing one more transfer of the underlying basis through the other process, which is a new Supplement J submitted to the Western Form Center. With that process, they seem to have it a little more formalized. You do get the receipt notice of the Supplement J. They're getting those in about 2 weeks right now. and they're able to electronically notify the officer at the National Benefits Center that you have requested that transfer so that they can take up the case since your date is current. So that's probably what I would do next, even though you followed all the steps USCIS told you to. I think with that process, there's just no way to know when it actually has been accomplished versus filing the Supplement J to the Western Form Center. At least you get that receipt confirmation.
So you mean to say I have to file, I have to send another interfiling request to the California address, whatever they have given, right?
That's what I'm recommending to my clients. It's not what USCIS says to do, and it's not mandatory that you do that, but I think that's the way to get a faster response from them on your request.
Nothing wrong in doing that, and no problem with that another interfiling request.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's take our next caller. And Emily, there's a question for you in the meantime. This question is from Harita Gutti. She says, priority date is March 2015. So she says, company A has my initial I-140 approved with the priority date of March 2015, moved from company A to company B, and company B started the PWD and is going to start recruiting this month for the perm process. But with the current processing times, how long will it take to get the perm completed and my I-140 approved with company B? Should I wait and file with company B, or should I go back to company A by transferring the H1 and then file 485?
Yeah, to answer your second question, I don't think we have any way of knowing which one is going to be the better option.
Okay.
I would say that for company B, if they're just now submitting the prevailing wage, that's taking about 7 months. If they are doing the recruitment along with that, then maybe you can file in about 7 to 8 months from now and get the approval another 6 to 7 months after that. So you're looking at probably a minimum of 14 months up to even 24 months to get the perm approved. Now, you might want to keep the door open with company A. I don't know. It might be premature to assume that you should go back to A, because what if the dates take longer and your date doesn't become current and you move back to A and would have had time with B. So maybe stick with B, let them go through that process, but keep the door open with A so that if your date is getting close to becoming current, you have that capability to go back to them if B's perm is not near being approved.
So I think the current dates are like what, Jan of 2015, right? So do you think these dates will move pretty quickly, or what are your thoughts on this, Emily?
I think they should in October, assuming that we get through all of these applications that are pending. We've got to kick people out of line, that are currently in line, and we have enough visas to do that. But if they end up keeping all those people in line and then wasting all the extra visas we have, those people are just going to take the new people's spots and the dates won't move, which is exactly what happened October 2021. So that's my concern. Is we still don't have the inventory of the statistics from the second quarter of the year to see how many 485s USCIS has adjudicated in those 3 months, and that'll tell us better how they're doing and are they going to make it through and getting all of these approved and moving everybody out of line so we can start accepting those new cases.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. All right, let's take our next caller, Andy. Let's take our next caller. All right, caller with phone number ending in 0567. We're ready for you. Hello?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Nitya. Hi Emily. Thanks for taking time. I have a question though. What happens if there is a layoff before the 180 days of filing of 485? Will there still be a chance to get EAD?
Yeah, the EAD generally is not impacted as long as the 485 remains pending, and your 485 will remain pending unless you withdraw it, which there's no reason to. So you still can get the EAD. The bigger question becomes what's going to happen. And I think that really depends on whether the company is going to inform USCIS and withdraw the I-140 that supported that 485. That could create a problem. Otherwise, I think that the 485 process should continue, and then you can try submitting a supplement J with a new employer after the 180-day mark has met.
So let's say the company has withdrawn the 140, 180 days hasn't passed yet. I did receive EAD so miraculously, so I can continue employment by changing a new company with a EAD, but do I still have to file the green card again from the scratch there? Because 180 days hasn't passed yet and I moved to another company.
Yeah, a lot of times when the I-140 is withdrawn, that triggers the denial of the 485 where the 180 days has not passed. So it's very likely that you would have to start over in that situation. If the I-140 is
but
not
I can still
withdrawn,
continue to work on.
If you have the EAD, but you don't have it yet, right?
No, I don't have it. But I should receive it, right? Irrespective of the layoff, I'll still receive the EAD. Okay.
But
but I can still live in the U.S. Even if
So
EAD is
all
pending.
of it depends on whether your 485 is pending or not. So what allows you to lawfully stay in the country is a pending 485. What allows you to work would be that EAD. You're eligible for the EAD as long as your 485 is pending, and you can legally stay in the country as long as your 485 is pending. But if that I-140 is withdrawn and USCIS sees it's less than 180 days from the time of filing the 485, that can trigger a 485 denial, which can then mean you're no longer eligible to stay in the country based on the pending 485, and the EAD is no longer valid.
Okay. So I can just change an employer and then file green
485
card
is
from
pending.
scratch.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. Let's take our next caller. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's take our next caller. Caller with phone number ending in 7032. We're ready for you now. 7032. Hello? Caller with phone number ending in 7032. We're ready for you. Hello? Okay, let's try to put this caller on hold and we'll get back to him again. Caller with phone number ending in 3621. We're ready for you. Hello?
Hi, Andy. This is Jay, and I have a question to Emily. Hi, Emily. Thanks for your time. So, I have a question. Recently, I submitted my adjustment of status in May with filing action chart, and unfortunately, my application got rejected, saying it was improperly filed due to payment. And we checked everything. There was 2 checks for me and my wife, 2 to 25, and all the application, everything was good. So I was wondering, I've been doing a lot of research, and I've read somewhere, we should have sent 2 checks for each applicant, like $11.40 and $85 with the biometric fees. Could you please help me out, like what is the right payment? And is it 1 check for each applicant or is it 2 checks?
Yeah, so for a 485, we typically send 1 check per person for $12.25 when it's the main applicant and their spouse.
Okay, so maybe, I don't know, it could be an erroneous from the USCIS. Is that what could have been happening?
It sounds like it if you did submit checks for $12.25. Now with the checks, that you have to make sure they're made out to Department of Homeland Security and they're dated recently, and it's not one where your bank voids it after a certain amount of time if it was dated earlier. So we do see some issues with checks in that way, but if all of that is fine, then it sounds like it may have been an improper rejection. You may have to work with USCIS to get them to accept it as an improper rejection. You may have to contact the Ombudsman's office for that as well, or work with your congressman or senator's office.
Sure. And one more question. With the June, I'm not current, and July, my final action date has become current. So I was thinking I should be sending the application on June 30 so that it reaches on July 1st with the resubmitting. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you can do that, that would be your next option, because obviously with that option, you won't keep the same filing date. Your original filing date will be lost, but
Correct.
you don't have to have the hassle of trying to get them to accept that as an improper rejection. So you may be better off assuming that everybody's still maintaining their non-immigrant status and there's no need legally for you to keep that original filing date. Just file it again on July 1st.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Emily. That's all I have. Thanks for the
Thank you,
service.
sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's take our next caller, but in the meantime, question for you, Emily. This is from DS Swami. Says EB2 priority date September 14th, filed adjustment of status in May with medicals, but 2 vaccines, second dose were not complete by then but completed now. Should we file anything to update the vaccine records? Also, what are my chances to get GC by September?
All right. So you kind of have 2 options with the medical exam. USCIS would tell you, please don't send in your medical through an interfile. Wait for us to send an RFE, and then you can send the new medical in response to the RFE. That's kind of option 1, which requires you to wait for them to realize that you need it, send the RFE, you get the medical, respond to the RFE, and then the case moves forward. Option 2 is get the medical updated now, maybe get 2 originals of it in 2 sealed envelopes, send 1 in as an interfiling to see if you can get it into the file faster and avoid the RFE. Now, again, USCIS keeps coming out saying, please don't send us your medicals unless we ask for it. But our experience is that wastes time. And we've had a lot of people that were successful in getting their medicals into the file faster and avoiding the delay of that RFE. So you can kind of go either way with that. In terms of, can you get the green card by September 30th? USCIS said that if you file by June 2022, and it's a straight regular filing, nothing concurrent, no pending I-140 or anything like that, they should be able to approve it by September 30th. But of course, the possibility of an RFE does delay things. So you may want to try to get that medical updated into them to avoid that RFE so that you might be able to get it by September 30th.
Thank you, Emily. Let's take our caller. Caller with phone number ending in 7255. We're ready for you now. 7255. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Som. How are you?
Good, sir. Please go ahead. We can hear you.
All right. So I have a quick question. So my priority date is November 2013, filed under EB2 originally with my previous employer back in 2015, 2013. And then I changed the company, and my current company filed in last year. The PERM was filed in EB2, and then the I-140 was filed in EB3, which got approved. And then subsequently I received EAD and AP. And then, of course, the dates retrogressed after November. But then when, I think in April, I got an RFE where they quoted my EB2 from the prior employer, asking if that job is still valid, or I have quoted to a new employment within the underlying 140, to which we just responded saying, my current job is valid, and we submitted a 485J. 2 days back on the online, it is showing as new card being produced. Oh, and in the meantime, my current employer had also filed an EB2 I-140 under regular processing. We were planning to upgrade it to premium this week, like coming Monday or Tuesday. So now that it shows new card being produced, I just don't know what to do. Like, should I just reach out to my attorney to not upgrade the old EB2, the current EB2, or so I just wanted to get some guidance on that.
Yeah, it would seem to me that you don't need that I-140 anymore, so it doesn't really make much sense to spend $2,500 on upgrading it. So I would try to have them just stop that process and get your green card in the mail next week. Congratulations.
Thank you. But should I, like my company attorney was saying that this could have been issued in error or approved in error. And so that's where I am. And they said we need to inform the USCIS and get a confirmation if this was issued correctly and all that stuff. So I'm not very sure.
Yeah. So we found many cases where the person, filed an EB3 and without us requesting, USCIS said, hey, we found you have an EB2, we're going to convert you to EB2 and approve it. So this happened in many cases where we got the green card approval when the EB3 date was not current. It was current in EB2, but we had not requested the transfer to EB2. This may be in a situation similar to yours where the EB2 was with an old employer or it was with the same employer, but USCIS, when we reached out to them, they said, this is not a mistake, enjoy your green card. So although it sounds like they shouldn't have issued it because your I-140 approval in EB2 is with the old employer, USCIS has been doing it. And a lot of times they've been doing it on their own, even though you don't request to transfer to that. And, I think it's, they should be the experts in this. I know you don't want to rely on USCIS errors, but I'm not sure that this is an error because all of this is kind of, there's no guidance out there and we're just kind of assuming this is how USCIS should be processing these cases, but they are often approving them based on the old company's EB2 I-140, even though we didn't ask for it.
And I think to be safe, I have my current employer also have a EB2 file in their system. So just from a system of records perspective, there is an underlying EB2 I-140 with the current employer as well. It's just that it's not approved yet.
Right.
Am I right
which means
in that?
it doesn't help you at all because it's not approved. Now, if they were both approved, that would be the argument is, well, we assumed you approved it based on my current employer's approved I-140, but they can't approve a 485 based on a pending I-140. So even though you had one, it doesn't really do you any good until it's actually approved.
Okay, so I think net, I don't have to do anything. I shouldn't send an inquiry to USCIS as well. There's no point in spoiling the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I would recommend that, we give the others a turn as well, but thank you so much for calling in today. Appreciate it, Andy. Let's take our next caller.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Our next caller with phone number ending in 3853. We're ready for you. Caller with phone number ending in 3853. Hello? Caller with number ending in 3853. Hello? Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ramakrishna. My priority date is June. Hi, Emily. Hi, Nitya. My priority date is June 2013. I filed my I-485 in October 2021 in EB3 straight. And then after that, when EB2 started moving, my employer filed EB2 and I got it approved. And we recently interfiled and we got the receipt too. And my question is, we are planning to travel to India. Can my wife travel on EAD, EB3? We got EAD and AP2. Can she travel on EB3, EAD, and AP without impacting our interfiling?
Yes. Yeah. So the interfiling has nothing to do with her ability to travel. It doesn't impact the EAD or AP at all. So she can utilize that valid EAD and AP. It stays valid as long as there's a pending 485. It doesn't matter whether that 485 is now moving from EB3 to EB2.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more add-on question. She's on H1 right now, and she does some side business too, and she wants to do some realtor work, and so she's planning to start using EAD instead of H1. So can we use our EAD without impacting the same conversion from EB3 to EB2 interfiling?
Yes, same answer.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. All right, let's take our next caller. But in the meantime, question for you, Emily. This is from Mav Cool M. Okay, so he says he wrote confessional letters. I hope you meant letters to the congressman. Okay, on that note, interfiled on March 9th, 2022. No receipt yet for a 485J supplement. Lawyer says, wait for it, not sure what's wrong. What are the next steps? What could delay the receipt? And it's at National Benefit Center, I think.
Yeah, I think there is nothing wrong other than you're dealing with USCIS and their government inefficiency, unfortunately. Yeah, we do see this quite often where some cases we get a receipt in 2 weeks, the exact same case, we file it at the same time, and it takes 2 months to get a receipt. There's just no rhyme or reason to it. So I don't think there's anything particularly wrong. I don't think there's really anything you can do, because for the Western Form Center, they don't have a lockbox email that you can contact. So your options are to continue to wait or send it in one more time if your attorney's willing to do that.
Thank you, Emily. Let's take our next caller, Andy. Next caller, please. All right, caller with number ending in 5894. We're ready for you. Caller with phone number ending in 5894. Hello. Please press *6 to unmute your line. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. Yeah. There's a lot of wind in the background. Yeah. So there's a lot of noise, like wind. Yeah. Much better now.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have a quick question basically. So I have my EBT EAD coming from back in 2020, and I'm planning to have a second job without. Currently, I'm on H1B basically, and with H1B EAD, and can I work on EAD in the second job? And when I asked the question earlier, sir, said that you can without impacting existing work authorization. But also they said the H1B gets invalidated with the current job which I'm working right now. So that is where my concern is. Without having an impact to work authorization on H1B in the current job, can I work on the EAD in the second job, for the first job and the second job?
You can use the EAD to work for 2 different companies, but you can't be on H1B and use the EAD. It's one or the other. So if you use the EAD, it's not that your H1B becomes invalid. What happens to the H1B is you fall out of H1B status because your H1B only allows you to work for that company. Now you've worked for another company. You're no longer maintaining H1B status. The petition is still there. It's still valid until it expires or gets withdrawn, but you're not using it because you've used the EAD. It's one or the other. You can't do both.
Okay, so if I'm using the EAD in the second job, what will be my work authorization in the first job if I want to continue in the first job?
The EAD, but your employer doesn't have to do anything to make that happen because they don't have to worry about your work authorization until the time your H-1B is expiring.
Okay, so my visa expiring in next month, so that's what my question is. I already applied for extension.
So when they come back to you,
is that something I need to take care of, like,
When they ask you for updated work authorization for the I-9, you would provide them with the EAD card. If they're telling you that they're ready to file your H-1B extension, at that point you may want to tell them, hey, I'm using my EAD, so I don't need it.
They already filed my extension. That's my concern too. So because it's
there's nothing that's going to happen with it, but you're not using it. It's just going to sit there. So you're on EAD now.
So, okay. So even if I don't use my EAD in the, if I use my EAD in the second job, do I need to inform my current employer that I don't want to use EAD, or do I need to inform in any way? I want to let it go, or should I let it go as it is?
No, you only need to tell them something when they come to you and say, hey, we need updated employment authorization for the I-9. Then you can provide them with your EAD card. Otherwise, you don't have to say anything. But
okay,
you're not
so I can continue my job in the EAD, and I can be in. Okay, so with my current, my only concern is my current job H1B. If I'm not doing anything, not telling anything, it is still good, right?
You're not an H1B. You can work for that company using your EAD.
EAD.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for calling, Andy. All right. Next question for you, Emily. This is from Kishore C. Says, AOS filed in October of 2020. Priority date is current July. What is the best option, interfile or refile based on current USCIS processing trends?
No way to know that question, answer to that question. You know, up until probably last month, refiling was definitely the faster option. Now that they actually are processing the interfiles, I can't say that it's going to continue with that trend or we're going to move to where interfiling is better, especially if you're trying to get the approval by September 30th. If you're filing in July as a new filing, that only gives them 2 months to approve it. Very unlikely that a refile is going to be approved that quickly. So probably the interfiling is going to be your best option at this point if you're trying to get the approval by September 30th.
Perfect. All right, let's take our next caller. Thank you, Emily. Let's take our next caller, Andy. Caller with phone number ending in 7032. We're ready for you. Please press *6 Andy to unmute your line. Caller with phone number ending in 7032. Hello? Hello? Please press *6 to unmute your line, Andy. All right, let's try another caller. We'll put this caller on hold and come back. Let's put this caller on hold and come back. Yes. Caller with phone number ending in 6766. We're ready for you now. Hello? Caller with phone number ending in 6766. Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, sir. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. My question is that my son is aged out, and we have applied for 485 before he aged out, and his F1 is still pending.
Okay. And what's the question?
Yeah, the question is, so how can we go about? He has not been graduated. He was supposed to graduate, but he has taken other classes so that he remains in the college. And we have received the 485 and the advance parole. And can he use that thing for it, 765?
If he wants to get into F1 status, no. So he filed the 485 and he's aged out. Is age never locked? Is that what you're saying?
No, his age is not locked in that sense, because the 140 was approved in 2 days, and now it is more than a year that he has applied for F1, and still the approval is not there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and but he's already aged out though. Did he file the F1
yeah, he's
before
already
he aged out?
Correct.
Yeah. So basically, he's in a period of authorized stay based on the pending change of status to F1. So if he wants to get that F1 approved, he cannot use the EAD and AP.
Okay. And any development on the law side so that such students who have aged out are considered for the green card or anything?
There are definitely bills out there. They have not been brought to the floor of the House to be discussed yet. And it may be kind of too late into the election and campaigning cycle for that to happen. I would say they're gathering more steam than they have in the past, but nothing happening in the near future on that.
So he has to wait for the F1 and not use the 765.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let's take our next caller. All right, caller with phone number ending in 3266. Caller with number ending in 3266. We're ready for you. Hello?
Hi, Nitya. Kishore here.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Nitya. Hi, Emily. Good afternoon. I have a question. Like, I'm on EB1C. So my I-140 is approved. I got the EAD card. But for 485s, all my dependents 485s transferred to Texas last week. But my case is not transferred, it is still stuck with Texas only. So is it, I mean, do you recommend to go for medicals and keep ready to keep, I mean, whenever I get RFA, I can submit, or should I wait for my 485 to be transferred and then I'm in dilemma whether to go for medicals now or still to wait. What is the possibility of my 485 can get transferred?
Well, the medicals, you can still go ahead and get them and just hang on to them because they'll remain valid for 2 years since you obtained it after filing the 485. So, you know, I don't see any problem with going ahead and getting it and having it ready. It's not going to expire in the near future. In terms of, you know, the some cases being transferred and yours not being transferred, again, is quite common. Unfortunately, we do see that, and there's no way to follow up with them or force them to transfer the case that didn't get transferred. It'll just have to kind of work its way through the process. You may try contacting your senator or congressman's office to see if they can help, but it's just, it happens, and I have not found a way to get them to do anything about it other than they'll just continue to process at the 2 different locations.
Okay. But medicals will not have any issues, right? Until 2 years it is valid, because I read that like within 60 days we need to submit something like that.
Yeah, so that's the rule if you get the medical before you file the 485. If you get the medical after you file the 485, it's valid for 2 years.
Okay. That helps me. That answers my question, Emily. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nithya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. Let's take our next caller. And question for you, Emily. This is from BBM. Says, Emily, is it true spillover is only available after July 1st of 22 and mass approvals of EB2 adjustment of status will start in Q4 of 22, just like last year?
So we definitely see an increase in the number of approvals in the last quarter of the year. Now, as far as the spillover, so we have spillover from family-based last year, and we have kind of spill down from EB1, and then we have spill across from the rest of the world. So the spillover from family-based, that all became available to each separate category on October 1st. So they didn't have to wait until the 4th quarter for that. The spill down, they do have to make sure that they're not using up the EB1 numbers that would have been used. So they can't bring them all to spill down early on because what if somebody later files EB1 and now you've taken their number? And the same thing with the spill across. They need to make sure that they have enough for everybody, the rest of the world that's going to file and not use those. So they do wait towards later in the year to actually spill those across when they're comfortable knowing, okay, nobody else is coming from the rest of the world. Now we can use them for EB2 India.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you so much. And let's take our next caller, Indy. Let's take our next caller. Yeah. Caller with phone number ending in 2727. We're ready for you. Hello? Caller with phone number ending in 2727. Please press *6 and to unmute your line. Hello? Caller with number ending in 2727.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for taking my call. My question is, my priority date is May 2013. I filed the downgrade EB3 October 2020. My I-140 is still pending. I tried it 10 times premium, but all were unsuccessful. Then I refiled my EB2 485 this January 2022. So the question now is, it went to the EB2 485 went to NBC and the biometrics were reapplied. The question is, still should I pursue my EB3 I-140? Is there any relation between the EB2 and the EB3 485?
There should not be any relation. Now, what we were seeing earlier on was when the EB3 I-140 was still pending, and we refiled an EB2. In many of those cases, the EB2 got receipted at the National Benefit Center, but then got transferred to the service center where the EB3 I-140 was pending. then we lose the benefit of the faster processing time of the National Benefit Center. In your case, it sounds like yours has stayed at the NBC, so hopefully there's no need for them to transfer. They shouldn't have been transferring them at all to begin with. I don't know why they were doing that, but they were. So as long as your case stays at the NBC, the EB3 filing should be completely irrelevant, and they should be able to approve the EB2 regardless of what's going on with the EB3.
Okay, got it. So what is your opinion, Emily? Should I pursue my EB3 I-140 premium process, or should I wait for it?
There shouldn't be a need to, unless you see that your EB2 has been transferred. Of course, once it gets transferred, then you would upgrade and get it transferred back, so you're delaying the time there. But I would hate for someone to pay an extra $2,500 for no benefit at all if it's not going to be transferred.
Yeah. So as per the case status, it's still in the NBC. But I'm not sure. Maybe I need to check with Emily. Sorry, Emma too. Maybe I'll do that one. That my case is still in
the other thing you could do is have your employer withdraw the EB3 I-140. Not mess with it at all.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Maybe I will check with that too. Thank you, Emily.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy. Let's take our next caller. Caller with the phone number ending in 7956. We're ready for you. Caller with number ending in 7956. Hello? Please press star 600 to unmute your line. Caller with number ending in 7956. Hello?
Hi, Nitya. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Nitya. Hi, Emily.
Hi. Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Hello. My question is, I just took a full-time job. I don't have an I-140 yet. My company is trying to file permanent labor and I-140 right now. I just have 3 years of H-1B left in my 6-year period. At the same time, I worked for a consultancy before, and they are also interested to file my labor and I-140 process. But currently, I am working as a full-time employee. Is it allowed legally that two companies can file perm process for someone at the same time, or will I be having any problems in future?
It's allowed to do that, no issues at all, as long as both jobs are legitimate jobs. The company that you're not working for, when they get to the I-140 stage, they have to be able to prove they have the ability to pay the salary that they're offering to you, which normally when someone's working for the company, they just provide your pay statements in W-2, and it's very easy to show they can pay your salary because they're paying you the salary. But when you're not working there, that's one of the number one reasons of I-140 denials, is when the person's not working there and the company still has to show ability to pay, they need to rely on their net income on their tax return. So as long as the company has the financial capability to demonstrate that ability to pay when they get to the I-140 stage, there's no problem with proceeding with both at the same time.
Do I really have to switch to that company when it's time for the I-140 approval, or if they have the actual financial status, will I be still okay continuing in the full time?
There's no immigration rule that requires you to switch. They may ask you to switch so that they can use your pay statements to show ability to pay, or they may ask you to switch because they're doing this benefit for you. They want you to work for them, but there's no immigration requirement making you switch.
Gotcha. And the last question I do have is about these verification or query processing usually. I also heard that right now the labor is probably taking around like 12 to 18 months. And there are chances that the state of labor can go into verification process of random applications. Can you let me know what exactly are these, and why does when the labor choose to do a verification on an employee, the time usually gets delayed for the approval?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's called an audit. And so the reason we have audits is because the entire labor certification application is online. And when you're submitting the online application, the company does not have to provide any proof that they've done any of the recruitment steps that they said they did. So when you're filing the labor, the company has to do a job order with the state. They have to do 2 Sunday newspaper ads, post a notice of filing. They have to do 3 other types of advertisements. So they mention all those things in the online perm form, but they provide no proof of it. They're not required to. That's where the audit comes into play. It's a random selection where the government wants to actually verify that you did the things that you said you did. So that's when you have to submit copies of all of those advertisements, copies of what job applications you received in response to them, and what were the lawful job-related reasons why those people were not selected for the job. So all of that happens during an audit. It is mostly random. There are certain things that do trigger audits, such as a very small company, maybe with less than 10 employees, where the company has a family relationship with the person that they're sponsoring, or if there are requirements in the job that are beyond what is normal for the position, like saying that it requires a certain language skill, which is not usual for that type of job. So generally audits are random, but there are sometimes that they're triggered, and it does add to that processing time, probably an extra 6 months or so.
All right. Gotcha. All right. Thanks for the explanation. The last question I have, do you advise if it's a nice idea for me to like pursue I-140s from 2 different companies, knowing the fact that I just have 3 years left in my H-1B?
Totally up to you. There's no harm doing it. Just depends on whether the companies are willing.
Got it.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
calling
I
in.
really appreciate your help.
Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
let's take our next caller, Andy. All right, caller with phone number ending in 0644. 0644, we're ready for you now. Hello? Caller with phone number ending in 0644. We're ready for you. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, sir?
Hello. Hi.
Hello, sir, we can hear you. Yeah,
Hi,
please
Emily.
go ahead.
Hi, Emily. Hi, Nitya. How are you? Yeah.
We're
Thank
fine,
you so
sir.
much for your help.
Sure.
Yeah. So right now I'm working with a servicing company. So my max out date is August 2022. So they started my filing process. It got approved on April. Recently, June 6th, they did it I-140 premium process. So till now, so far, I didn't receive any kind of status, whether it is approved or premium process, how many days it is going to take.
Yeah, so usually, was it initially filed in premium or was it upgraded after filing?
No, initially they started with the premium process for I-140.
Okay. So yeah, it should be 15 calendar days from the day that they received it. So they should have, if it was filed early June, they should have received an email notification of the receipt number. And they probably also should have received the receipt notice in the mail. And then 15 days from that received date, they should have either gotten a request for evidence or an approval by now. So if they haven't received anything yet, they definitely should be checking to see if the filing fee check was cashed. If it wasn't, it's possible that the petition was rejected for some reason and it's coming back in the mail. They maybe want to go ahead and prepare now to refile it rather than waiting for getting that rejected petition in the mail, because it can take several weeks, and obviously you have a max out issue coming up very soon. So I don't know if I would wait for the rejection to come in if the check hasn't been cashed.
So normally within 50 days we are going to receive the status. Is that right?
Within 15 days of the receipt date, you should have an approval or a request for evidence.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you so much for calling, Andy.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, folks. We have a ton of people waiting both on the live chat and as well as the phone line. Sorry, we haven't been able to get through all the questions today, but unfortunately we're all out of time. Emily, I wanted to take this time to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I could be here.
Thank you for all your help and for all the updates from your conference last week. And to all our viewers, please do come back same time, same place next week with all your questions. We'll try to get through as many as possible. And to all our viewers, have a great week and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to 𝐀𝐓𝐓𝐓𝐎𝐑𝐍𝐄𝐘 for achieving SAT score 1570, 𝐓𝐕𝐀𝐒𝐄 1540, 𝐒𝐇𝐎𝐖 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premier SAT and ACT program. Pay now. Start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ వారి గోల్డ్ ప్రామిస్ తో కురుస్తోంది బంగారు నాణాల వర్షం. గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్ ఆభరణాలు కొనుగోలు చేసి బంగారు నాణాలని ఉచితంగా తప్పకుండా పొందండి. త్వరపడండి. మీ దగ్గరలోని స్టోర్ కి వెళ్లి ప్రత్యేకమైన జ్యువెలరీ కలెక్షన్ ని ప్రత్యేకమైన ధరల్లో పొందండి. కేవలం మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ తో మాత్రమే.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్.
Hire international teachers who are well trained in U.S. curriculum for just $20 an hour, or for 2 students group, $15 an hour. We teach math, science, and English for elementary, middle, and high school. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
PSAT. Do you have a middle school child? Are you aiming for top Ivy League colleges? Do you know how strong they are in academics? We have an innovative PSAT program for grades 6 through 9. We will help your child thrive in academics and get them to the top 1% of the nation. It's never too early to start. Join our prestigious PSAT program. For more information, contact us, info@testpreppundits.com or 844-383-7844.